How are you guys doing? It is Tuesday, September 15th, 2020. Out here in this quarantine, I'm James Sims. And for this episode of The Elite, with no playoff basketball yesterday, I'm going to take you through the two Monday night football games and through yesterday's baseball games, as well as the WNBA and the NHL bubble, along with the big games to look out for today. So first, I'm going to start with the NFL games last night. It's really rare when you see two Monday night football games, but for the first one, the New York Giants hosted the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Pittsburgh Steelers were able to beat them 26-16 to get their first win of the season. For the New York Giants, Daniel Jones, their quarterback, would throw for 279 yards with 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. He got sacked 3 times. He also ran for 22 yards on the ground. The New York Giants elite running back Saquon Barkley would finish with 6 yards on 15 carries on the day, and through the air, he'd finish with 60 yards on 6 receptions for a grand total of 21 touches and 66 yards. Definitely being held back by the Steelers defense because it was incredibly dominant. The top receiver for the day was Darius Slayton, who would finish with 102 yards on 6 receptions and 2 touchdowns. He had a pretty big game for a 5th-round pick out of Auburn in this most recent draft. He's looking to be really good. And then just looking on their defense, Blake Martinez would lead the way with 12 tackles, one of them for loss. Leonard Williams would have a sack. He finished with 5 tackles on the day, and he hit the quarterback twice. Jumping to the Pittsburgh Steelers, they're 2-time Super Bowl champion quarterback Ben Roethlisberger finished with 229 yards and 3 touchdowns on the day. He got sacked twice. Benny Snell Jr., their new starting running back, finished with 113 yards on 19 carries. And this is their 4th round draft pick out of Kentucky. So, he was playing incredibly well. James Conner finished with 9 yards on the ground. Juju Smith-Schuster was the Steelers' top receiver for the day as he finished with 69 yards and 6 receptions and 2 touchdowns on the day. Looking on the defensive side of the ball, Terrell Edmonds had 9 tackles. I think their best performance on the night came from Vince Williams, their linebacker, who had 5 tackles on the day. He had a sack and he had 3 tackles for loss in total on the day. With this win, of course, the Pittsburgh Steelers are now 1-0 and the Giants are now 0-1. Jumping to the second game of the day, the Tennessee Titans would take on the Denver Broncos in Denver, and they were able to squeak out a last-second win on Steven Gostkowski's only made field goal of the day. He missed a bunch of them, but first let me get into Denver. For them, their starting quarterback, Drew Lock, threw for 216 yards and a touchdown. Melvin Gordon, their running back, ran for 78 yards and 15 carries on the ground with a touchdown. He also had 8 yards through the air. Noah Fant was their main receiver. He had 81 yards on 5 receptions and a touchdown on the day. Looking at the defensive side of the ball, Alexander Johnson would have 12 tackles on the day, and Jeremiah Attaochu would finish with a sack on the day. Looking at Tennessee, Ryan Tannehill, I believe, had the best offensive performance of the day. He threw for 249 yards, completing 29 of his 43 pass attempts, where he threw 2 touchdowns as well. Derrick Henry on the ground would finish with 116 yards on 31 carries on the ground. And through the air, he finished with 15 yards receiving. Corey Davis would be the Titans' main receiver. He finished with 101 yards on 7 receptions. Looking at the defensive side of the ball, Kevin Byard would finish with 9 tackles on the day. And I think the Tennessee Titans played an overall great defensive game considering the Broncos didn't score that much. But here's some food for thought. Steven Gostkowski, who was Adam Vinatieri's replacement for the New England Patriots, and I think he won a couple of Super Bowls with the Patriots. For yesterday, he would finish 0-for-4 on his field goals. He missed his first 3 attempts, but of course, their last drive would lead to them kicking a field goal and he'd make it. He even missed a PAT attempt. That's how they finished up with 16 points. But with that win, the Tennessee Titans are now 1-0 as the Denver Broncos now drop to 0-1. And now, with every team having played in Week 1, I'm going to take you through those standings really quickly. Starting off in the AFC, in the East, the Buffalo Bills and the Patriots are 1-0 as the Jets and Dolphins are 0-1. In the AFC North, the Baltimore Ravens and Pittsburgh Steelers are 1-0 as the Cincinnati Bengals and Cleveland Browns are 0-1. In the AFC South, the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Tennessee Titans are 1-0 as the Indianapolis Colts and Houston Texans are 0-1. In the AFC West, the defending champs Kansas City Chiefs, the Los Angeles Chargers, and the Las Vegas Raiders are all 1-0, and the Denver Broncos are last in the AFC West with an 0-1 record. In the NFC East, the Washington football team has the best record. They're sitting with a 1-0 record, while the Dallas Cowboys, the Philadelphia Eagles, and the New York Giants are all 0-1. In the NFC North, The Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears are tied for first, the 1-0 record, and the Minnesota Vikings and the Detroit Lions are 0-1. In the NFC South, the New Orleans Saints are the only team with a win, as the Atlanta Falcons, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Carolina Panthers are all 0-1. And last but not least, jumping out to the NFC West, the Arizona Cardinals, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Los Angeles Rams were all tied for first in their division, as the San Francisco 49ers now dropped to 0-1 after their loss to the Cardinals. But with that said, right now I'm going to jump into the NHL bubble just to show you what's going on with that season. But first, Dallas would go on to win this series 3-2 against the Golden Knights. They won it 4-1. The Golden Knights would go up 2-0 in the third period, but of course the Stars would score 2 goals in the last 5 minutes, I believe, to tie it up. And, of course, they sent it into overtime. Jamie Benn with a very, very clutch goal to put them in this position. And I believe with this, they punched their ticket to go and play in the Stanley Cup Final. But on the other side of things, looking out to what's going on today, it'll be Game 5 of the matchup of the Eastern Conference Stanley Cup Final between the New York Islanders and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Tampa Bay lead that series 3-1, and they're looking to clinch, and the New York Islanders are just looking to stay alive. Right now, jumping to the NBA playoff bubble with the Lakers already having advanced and waiting on the Clippers. First off, at 6:40, it'll be Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals between the 5th seed Miami Heat and the 3rd seed Boston Celtics. And in the West, it'll be the number 3 Denver Nuggets taking on the number 2 Los Angeles Clippers for the Western Conference Semifinals Game 7. Going to a wild fact, this is every playoff series that Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray have been in. They've all reached Game 7, which is pretty impressive. But this will be the last game of the season for one of these teams, and that game starts at 9:00 on ESPN. And the winner of that will play the top seed Los Angeles Lakers later on down the line in the Western Conference Finals. But with that said, I'm gonna jump really quickly to the WNBA just to give you some insight into what's going on out there in their season and their bubble in IMG Academy. First on, the Connecticut Sun will take on the Chicago Sky at 7:00. The DC Mystics are gonna take on the Phoenix Mercury today on ESPN2. And without further ado, I'm gonna jump into yesterday's baseball games. Yesterday. Monday, September 14th. I'm going to start out west to show you what games are going on out there. First off, the Seattle Mariners took on the Oakland Athletics in a doubleheader in Seattle. For the first game, the Seattle Mariners will win 6-5 after rallying in the 4th, 5th, and 6th inning to come back from down 5-0 to win this game. Marco Gonzalez will pick up the win for Seattle. He's now 6-2 on the season. He would allow 5 earned runs in 6 innings pitched, striking out 7. And just looking at Oakland because they had a pretty good game going on. Their shortstop, Marcus Semien, finished 2 for 3 with 4 RBIs and a run. And their designated hitter, Chris Davis, would finish 2 for 3 with 2 runs. Looking at the Seattle, their center fielder, Kyle Lewis, would finish 1 for 3 with 3 RBIs and a run, as he would go on to hit his 10th home run in the 5th inning of the game. Their catcher, Luis Torrens, would finish the game 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run as he hit his first home run of the season. With this, they carried this into the second game, and the Oakland A's were able to blank the Seattle Mariners 9-0 behind Mike Minor's shutout complete game. Amazing game from him. For the Mariners, they really didn't get a lot going, but Yacobonis would get the start. Not much going for their pitching. Looking out to Oakland in this game, their left fielder, Grossman, would finish 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run. Additionally, Marcana, their right fielder, would finish 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs and a run as he hit his 4th home run in the 6th inning. Their designated hitter, Jake Lamb, would finish 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs on the day as he hit his first home run of the season. And additionally to that, Lariano would finish 2 for 4 as Ramon Laureano finished with the 2 RBIs and a run. Big win for him. With this doubleheaders being split, the Oakland A's are now 30-18 as the Seattle Mariners are now 22-16, as I believe the Mariners are the first team in the American League West to hit the 30-win mark. But of course, staying out west, I'm going to take you to San Diego, where the Padres hosted the Los Angeles Dodgers last night, and they were able to beat them 7-2. Dinelson Lamet would pick up his third win as GOAT-level pitcher Clayton Kershaw picked up his second loss. Clayton Kershaw would pitch 6.1 innings. He would allow 3 earned runs, and he would strike out 9 batters. I mean, solid start, amazing start. Dinelson Lamet would get the win for San Diego. He would allow 1 earned run with 11 strikeouts and 7 innings pitched. Kershaw now drops to 5-2 as a starter, and Dinelson Lamet is now 3-1. Looking up to the hitters, for the Dodgers, their elite right fielder Mookie Betts would finish 1-4 with 2 strikeouts. Their elite center fielder Cody Bellinger would finish 0-3 with a walk on the day. Not much going for the Dodgers, but they'd have 1 RBI from their designated hitter, Corey Seager. And then for San Diego, their elite shortstop, Fernando Tatis Jr. would finish 1-4 with 2 strikeouts. Their elite third baseman, Manny Machado, would finish 1-4 with an RBI. Additionally, they just had a lot of good hitting all around. Will Myers, the right fielder, finished 2-4 with an RBI and 2 runs. He hit his 13th home run. Trent Grisham, their center fielder, finished 1-3 with an RBI and 2 runs. He hit his 9th home run of the season. With this win, the San Diego Padres are now 32-17, as the Los Angeles Dodgers are now 33-15. With that said, I'm going to jump out east to show you what's going on out there. Starting out in Miami, the Miami Marlins were able to beat the Philadelphia Phillies 6-2 behind Pablo Lopez's 4th win of the season. Vince Velasquez would get the start for the Phillies, but he wouldn't pitch 4 innings. Pablo Lopez would allow 1 earned run in 7 innings pitched, striking out 6 batters on the day. Looking out to Philly, their elite right fielder Bryce Harper would finish 1-4 on the day. Former NL MVP Andrew McCutchen finished 1-4 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 7th home run of the season. Looking out to Miami, their center fielder Starling Marte would finish 2-4 with an RBI and 2 runs. And their third baseman, Miguel Rojas, would finish 2-3 with an RBI and 2 runs on the day. He hit his 3rd home run of the day. With this win, the Miami Marlins are 24-21, and the Phillies now drop to 23-23, sitting at 500 in the National League East. Now looking out to Baltimore, the Baltimore Orioles hosted the NL East leading Atlanta Braves and were able to dominate them, beating them 14-1 thanks to a 9-run 3rd inning. For the Braves, Toussaint would get the start. He wouldn't make it through the 3rd inning at all. But the win would go to Jorge Lopez of the Orioles. He would allow 1 earned run in 7 innings pitched, striking out 3 batters. For Atlanta, their elite center fielder, Ronald Acuna Jr., would finish 0-3 with a walk and a strikeout. Their elite first baseman, Freddie Freeman, would finish 2-3 with an RBI and a run, as his solo home run in the 6th inning was the Braves' only run of the day and spoiled the Baltimore Orioles' shutout. Additionally, their elite second baseman, Ozzie Albies, would finish 2-3 on the day. Looking out to Baltimore, first off, they had a great hitting performance all around. First off, their center fielder, Cedric Mullins, finished 2-5 with 2 RBIs and 3 runs. He had a pretty big game. Jose Iglesias, I think, would be the best batter of the day, as he finished 4-4 with 4 RBIs and 3 runs, and he had a crazy game. In this game, he'd go on to hit his first home run of the season as well. The right fielder, DJ Stewart, would finish 2-5 with 4 RBIs and a run as he hit his 7th home run of the season, his 7th home run of the last 9 games, but I'm not going to get into that one. But their designated hitter, Ryan Mountcastle, finished 3-5 with 3 RBIs and a run as he hit his 5th home run of the season. And, of course, their left fielder, not going to forget him, their left fielder, Austin Hayes, would go on to finish 2-4 with 2 runs on the day. With this win, the Baltimore Orioles are now 21-26 as the Atlanta Braves drop down to 28-20. Last but not least, I'm going to take you out to the Central. To start off, there was a doubleheader in Cincinnati between the Reds and the Pirates. In the very first game, Trevor Bauer would have an amazing start. He would get a no decision. After all, he would allow 1 earned run in 6.1 innings pitched, striking out 12 batters, of course, showing why there's an argument that he's the best pitcher in all of baseball right now. And then just looking out, it was mainly just their pinch hitter, Tyler Stevenson, who finished 1-for-1 with 2 RBIs and a run, pinch hitting in the 7th inning of course, in hitting the walk-off home run to give the Reds their 22nd win of the season. And going on to the second game, the Cincinnati Reds were able to beat the Pirates 9-4 to sweep the doubleheader, I guess. I don't even know if you can really sweep a doubleheader, but I'll continue on. For the Reds, their first baseman, Mike Moustakas, finished 1-for-4 with 3 RBIs and a run. He hit his 5th home run of the season. their center fielder, Brian Goodwin, finished 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs, and it's just kind of that. And Joey Votto, their future Hall of Fame designated hitter, finished 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 9th home run of the season. With both of these wins, the Cincinnati Reds are now 23-26, and with both of these losses, the Pittsburgh Pirates are now 14-32. Taking now to Milwaukee for yet another doubleheader. The Brewers hosted the Cardinals for a couple of games. For the first game, it was a great matchup between Josh Lindblom of Milwaukee and Kwang Hyun Kim of St. Louis. Kim would finish with no earned runs in 7 innings pitched, striking out 6. Lindblom would allow no earned runs in 5 innings, striking out 6 batters. But in the 8th inning, it would just come down to who would bring in more runs. Tommy Edman brought in a run for St. Louis. Ryan Braun would double to tie the game up at 1, and then Keston Hiura would have a sacrifice fly, and then the Brewers would win the first game. Jumping to the second, the St. Louis Cardinals would win this game in 9. Yet again, another great pitching performance from Ponce de Leon. He only allowed 2 earned runs, struck out 9 batters in 6 innings pitched. Burns would allow 1 earned run in less than 5 innings pitched, striking out 10 for Milwaukee. Even for Milwaukee in the second game, their elite left fielder, Christian Yelich, would finish 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Looking at St. Louis, their elite designated hitter, Paul Goldschmidt, would finish 2 for 5 with a run on the day. And their shortstop, Paul DeJong, would finish 3 for 5 with an RBI. With the doubleheader being split, the St. Louis Cardinals are now 21-21, and the Milwaukee Brewers are now 21-25. And the last but not least, I'm going to take you out to the south side of Chicago as the Chicago White Sox were able to beat the Twins 3-1. Pretty good, a pretty big win, and it would come down to the very end. The score was basically tied at 1. It would come down to an Adam Engel RBI single and a Tim Anderson RBI double for the Chicago White Sox to take the lead and eventually win. For Minnesota, Jose Barrios would get the start. He would allow 1 earned run in 5 innings pitched, striking out 2 batters. And then just looking at their hitters, the right fielder Max Kepler would finish 2 for 4. Jorge Polanco finished 1 for 4 with the only RBI of the day. Looking out to Chicago, Dylan Cease would get the start for Chicago. He would allow 1 earned run in 4.2 innings pitched, striking out 4. And then just looking at their batters, Tim Anderson would go 3 for 5 with an RBI. Jose Abreu would go 2 for 5. Eloy Jimenez would go 2 for 3 with a walk. Yoan Moncada would finish 0 for 1 with 2 runs on 3 walks. With this win, the Chicago White Sox are now 31-16 as the Minnesota Twins are now 30-19. And just last but not least, I'm going to take you out just to show you what games to look forward to in the MLB. Because, it's Tuesday. It's a lot of new series kind of starting up now because not all the teams played yesterday. And with the season coming to a close, I believe any time now we'll start to see teams being eliminated from playoff contention. I'm not sure if teams have already been eliminated, but just to start off, I'm just looking through this. Huascar Ynoa of the Atlanta Braves looks to take on Tom Eshelman of Baltimore Orioles. He's 3-0, looking to get his 4th win of the season. That game's at 7:30. Taijuan Walker looking to take on Davy Garcia of the New York Yankees. The Blue Jays and the Yankees take on each other at 7. The defending champs, Washington Nationals, look on to take John Curtis and the Tampa Bay Rays at 6:40. That's going to be another big game. Rick Porcello is going to take on Jake Arrieta. That would have been a great matchup in 2016. But, they're 2 Cy Young pitchers. So, that's still going to be a good game. That's going to be at 7:05. Jack Flaherty's looking to get his 4th win of the season as the Cardinals take on the Brewers at 7:40. Randy Dobnak is 6-3, looking to get his 7th win of the season, taking on the Chicago White Sox and Dane Dunning at 8:10. And just continuing, Carlos Carrasco is going to take on Yu Darvish at 8:15. Probably a much more underrated matchup than I think people believe. And Sean Manaea of Oakland is going to take on Antonio Senzatella of Colorado at 8:40 on FS1. Madison Bumgarner, former World Series MVP, and I know he's either a 2 or a 3-time World Series champ. He's taking on Julio Teheran of the Angels at 9:40. And last game of the night along with that will be Tyler Anderson and LJ Newsome as the San Francisco 49ers take on the Seattle Mariners. But with that said, I want to appreciate you for listening to all 20 minutes of this piece. Once again, it is Tuesday, September 15th. There's a lot to look forward to, and of course, it's sports. It's always going on. But with that said, I want to thank you once again for listening to my piece, and peace out.